everybody, what's up? This is Danielle here, the Wicked Awesome Gardener from the Wicked Awesome Grow Room. Today I am starting for my seedling sales some of my herbs. We have basil, sage, and rosemary. So I figured I would take you with me while I get these all seeded. Okay, so it took a little bit to get the camera angles here, but what you see in front of you is a 72 cell tray. I have already moistened all the soil here, so it's nice and damp. As you can see, these are not full all the way because I am going to dust over it with some more soil just to cover these. So what I am growing first is the Genovese basil. This is a sweet basil. It's my favorite kind of basil. I'm sowing them in these 72 cell trays and will then divide them into a 6 cell later on. So you can see basil seeds, nice little small seeds. And I'm just going to sprinkle, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 seeds per cell here. Not really too worried about spacing. What I'm going to do once they sprout and really get growing is I will take them out and I will separate them into the 6 cell trays, which I'll then it'll give them a little bit more room for their roots, and then they will be for sale at my seedling sale. So I've got about enough to get 3 rows here of cells. There we go. One thing I have learned through my gardening adventures: do not forget the label, because you will forget what you have planted. The year of mystery squash still haunts me. So we're going to go ahead and place that right up there. So there's our basil, these 3 rows of 6, so 18 cells of basil. Now next we have our sage. This is just regular old garden sage. As you can see, the sage seeds are quite a bit bigger. So I'm going to put, let's say, 3 in each. Sage is pretty hardy. Their roots can take a bit of a bit of roughing up. So separating them won't be that difficult. So I'm going to put 3 or 4 in each cell, probably just 3, and see how far this takes me. So we've got 2 rows there. And these 2 will be separated once they germinate and have a couple leaves going. I'll separate them up and they will go into 6 cells for my seedling sale. Let's see. Also, a lot of these are going in my garden as well. There will be a large section in the Wicked Awesome Garden going down the fenced side of the garden. We're going to have sage, rosemary, oregano, parsley, dill, cilantro, just all that good stuff, rosemary. So everything that I am seeding for sale is also something I am growing for my own personal use. Even the peppers, even though I'm not really a fan of hot peppers, I'm growing a few jalapenos because I've decided this year I'm going to make some of my own salsa. And I know for whatever I don't use, I know that I have friends who like to can and things like that that will really appreciate some extra jalapenos thrown their way. They will not complain. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rows of the sage. And then here we have the rosemary. A little bit more of that. I'm going to sow these densely as well, but you can see rosemary seeds I always thought are kind of funny because if you can see, I don't know if that focuses enough for you to see that, but half the seed is covered in husk and half of it is not. I always just kind of thought that was neat. So I'm just going to put a few of these, just sprinkle a few in each cell. Like I said, they're all going to get separated later. Herbs are generally a little more tolerant of that than, say, your corn, which has a very delicate root system when it's young. Tomatoes aren't so bad, but here we go. I am sowing these very thickly, maybe a little too thickly, but I only have 3 rows left to fill, so I may as well. And there we go. So people have asked what seed mixture I am using. I am using a Jiffy organic seed starting mix. Let's tip the camera up so you can... I'm just using a Jiffy organic seed starting mix. I got this at Home Depot. It was like $4 or $5. Maybe not quite even that much. So you guys can see it a little better. So all I'm going to do is give all these cells a light sprinkle of soil across the top. I'm not really going to cover them with too much. I'll even this out, of course, once I'm done here. It's just easier to throw it on this way and get it after. Then I can kind of see which ones I missed. I want to break up any clumps. It's good organic material there. A little bit more, just about done. The thing about potting mixes like these, they are so dry and powdery, and soil can actually get kind of like hydrophobic if it's dry, too dry for too long. And you'll see when I start to spray these, actually I'll show you, it gets almost hydrophobic. So if you take a watering can and you put it on there, you see how it just kind of beads up and bubbles and just kind of hangs out there on the surface instead of soaking in when it gets too much water at once. So it just almost repels it. So what I like to do is take my spray bottle, and this way all the fine water droplets are able to just get right into that soil. And make it damp enough for those seedlings. Now remember, the soil underneath it was already wet. So between the misting of water on top and the water in the soil down below, this little dusting that I've put on should soak up nicely. and get those seeds off to a good start. Ta-da! What did I say? Don't forget to label. Next, we simply cover with a clear plastic dome. We don't want to cause any mold or mildew issues on the soil, so we will take this cover off as soon as the first seedlings start to appear. We'll see the basil first in about 5 to 10 days, and then at about 14 to 21 days, we'll start seeing the sage and the rosemary. And that's it, guys. Thanks for coming along, and please don't forget to like and subscribe. Give me a comment, a question. I really want to grow this channel, and those type of things really help. Thanks for tuning in, and have a wicked awesome time.